How times change. Just a few short years ago, here at Eurofootball Daily, we could always rely on Milan for an easy video, with their disjointed transfers, cutthroat managerial dealings, and behind-the-scenes mayhem always making them an obvious target for criticism. But now, after averaging 6th place finishes between 2012 and 2020, the Rossoneri are back where they belong, holders of the Italian title and riding high with an impressive young squad, and poised to make a splash in the Champions League once again. But now the harmony could be ruptured by new money men, with parent company Elliott selling the team to another American investment fund, RedBird Capital, for around €1.2 billion, prompting questions over the running of a team which has finally found its groove after a decade without a Scudetto. Using figures from the Financial Times, today we're taking a look at RedBird's background, the club's path from glory days under Berlusconi to the doldrums and back to the summit of Serie A, and what we can expect from the union of these two behemoths in a division which has become the most competitive and unpredictable in Europe. Welcome to Eurofootball Daily Explained. Before the hedge funds came along, Milan had been in the hands of Silvio Berlusconi for over 3 decades. The billionaire, who was Italian Prime Minister on 3 separate occasions during his stewardship of the Rossoneri, bought the team in 1986, after they'd been relegated twice earlier in the decade. And, while he's not always regarded as the most trustworthy man in Europe, he made good on his promise to return them to the top. Hiring unfancied boss Arrigo Sacchi, frequently a target of criticism for having never played professional football, was a masterstroke, and under his guidance, that of Fabio Capello, and later the raised eyebrow of Carlo Ancelotti, Milan climbed back to the summit of the sport, winning 8 league titles and 5 Champions Leagues for Berlusconi. During his tenure, 7 Milan players won the Ballon d'Or, but Berlusconi was also the architect of the club's decline. Rarely one to hold his tongue, the owner attacked Ancelotti in 2009, saying, "We lost the title race because of Ancelotti. Many times we did not use the right tactics," which unsurprisingly saw the manager make a hasty exit. And while his immediate replacement, Max Allegri, delivered another Scudetto to San Siro, after him Berlusconi relied on nostalgia to keep the team afloat, trialling several players from the glory years on the bench, in Seedorf, Pippo Inzaghi, Christian Brocchi and Gattuso. None of them worked, and Milan dropped out of the Champions League in 2014, while their revenue stagnated, and that set the stage for a new owner, Lee Yong-hong, who took over the side with the help of a $300 million loan from American hedge fund Elliott. He swiftly defaulted on his debt, and Elliott were able to take over the side, and they quickly realised that Milan had turned into a money pit. Big wages and fees had been wasted on stars who failed to contribute, while the turnover of managers had resulted in a piecemeal squad built for no particular style. Meanwhile, commercial income was faltering and San Siro was falling apart. Keen to get the finances back on track, Elliott brought in Ivan Gazidis from Arsenal, with the aim of tightening belts around the club and juicing revenue. But at first, it was a fraught process. Gazidis clashed with Paolo Maldini over transfer targets, and it took intervention from the owners to confirm the side's new direction in the market, bringing in young, inexpensive players rather than focusing on well-known names. It would prove transformative. Milan began to put together a younger squad, and it turned out they were actually pretty good at finding talent. The team began to improve on the pitch as the bank balance improved off it. According to the Swiss Ramble, from 2019-20 to 2020-21, Milan reduced their wage-to-turnover ratio, essentially the portion of income they spend on paying players, from 93% to 70%. But despite cutting costs, they somehow got better as a team, coming in second in the league behind rivals Inter, a performance which saw their revenue jump from $172 million to $241 million. Their TV income more than double, and their money from sponsorships rise from $77 million to $94 million. All this means that while Elliott have put around €750 million into Milan, they will make a €450 million profit on their investment, and RedBird will inherit a team in good financial health, with an average age of 25.3, a manager whose project energises the fans, and a secure seat at the top table of European football. But who are they, and what are their plans for the club? RedBird Capital is an American private investment fund, and while they may be new to the Italian game, they have plenty of experience of top-level sport. As well as a stake in Indian cricket team the Rajasthan Royals, they own French football club Toulouse, and through their involvement in Fenway Sports Group, they have shares in ice hockey outfit the Pittsburgh Penguins, baseball giants the Boston Red Sox, and most notably for Milan, Liverpool FC, of whom they own 11%, and where their tenure has coincided with a rise from mediocrity back to Champions League and Premier League glory. The deal also sees Milan enter a strategic partnership with Yankee Global Enterprises, the parent company of the New York Yankees, and through that connection, money made from shares of the Rossoneri will end up in the hands of global superstars like Drake and LeBron James, and both could end up part of RedBird's long-term strategy in Italy. According to the Financial Times, Jerry Cardinale, the head of the company, wants to use his connections with American sports stars and celebrities to promote Milan as a worldwide brand, taking advantage of the club's location in one of the world's most glamorous cities to grow its presence outside Italy, and then using that profile to renegotiate international media rights deals for the whole of Serie A, aiming to bridge the gap in TV income to the Premier League, a gap which has grown from $1 billion to $3 billion over the last 10 years. But traditionalists need not be afraid that Cardinale is going to rip up the team and turn them into the Milan Red and Black Sox. The businessman personally met with Paolo Maldini on the eve of the takeover to assure the former club captain of his importance to the long-term project, and he's also committed to renovating the crumbling San Siro stadium, an undertaking which is expected to cost in the region of €1 billion and re-establish the venue as a football mecca. A lot of their work will represent continuity too. Under Gazidis, the club has taken on an analytical approach to recruitment and coaching, using advanced statistics to identify transfer targets, and even during matches employing analysts in the stands to get different views of the game, with data then sent to Pioli's assistant in the dugout, who relays it to the boss. RedBird are committed to a similar setup, and while they only have a 10% portion of FSG, not a controlling stake, they will no doubt have an insight into the success Liverpool's recruitment team and backroom staff have found with such an approach. FSG's Anfield resurrection is the blueprint here, with Liverpool saddled with £500 million of debt in 2010 before a 5-month legal battle pushed through the transfer to American ownership. But now they have one of the best squads in the game and boast a bigger yearly revenue than Chelsea or Arsenal. That means we can expect to see a continuation of a youth-oriented transfer policy, which targets undervalued players from other sides, like Kalulu, Diaz, Hernandez and Tomori. But it also suggests that they'll be willing to make exceptions for special talents, and spend big if a key piece can make a drastic change to the team's prospects. And crucially, there's no need to worry that RedBird simply see Milan as just one part of a multi-club group, like the City Football Group or Red Bull Empire. As an investment fund, the firm is focused only on acquiring clubs if they see an opportunity to turn them into money-making enterprises. And while that sounds a little soulless, part of achieving that is producing successful teams, while it also means Milan are unlikely to see players shuffled in and out of the squad in the manner of Udinese and Watford under meddling owners the Pozzi. By running the side in a sensible, self-sustaining manner, Milan are unlikely to encounter the problems which saw them booted from European football, or which see an average of 8 Italian clubs declaring bankruptcy each year. And that means that Italian fans can be confident that the policies that got them where they are now will be continued, with Gazidis telling La Repubblica, "The message they transmitted to us is the will to continue on the path of our management." If further sources of income can be found, and the club stays the course with a transfer policy which was revolutionary for Serie A when first implemented, Milan can continue to grow, and perhaps even establish a dynasty like the one which saw Juventus dominate the division in the 2010s. We'll see if RedBird can make them soar. So that's our take on Milan's new owners, but what do you think? Can they defend their Serie A title this season? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop us a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll never miss an upload. We'll see you next time.